Liberty in our lifetimes in a free state of our own. That's the vision. That's the dream. And we are building it in New Hampshire. I'm Eric Brakey, your host and renegade statesman for the Porcupine Report. Welcome to your source for porcupine news and free-range conversation on matters of liberty. All right, let's hop into the show. Hey there, all you porcupines, this is your host, your renegade statesman, your executive director of the New Hampshire Free State Project, coming to you for episode 93 of the Porcupine Report. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We bring you a brand new episode every single Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. That's Eastern time, of course, because that's where the Free State is. Though you can watch the Porcupine Report in any time zone you want, all around the world. But particularly those around America who are in a position to be able to pack up and move or come visit and join us here in New Hampshire. We're particularly interested in you tuning in and hearing about all that's going on. So thank you so much. Please go ahead and like and share and leave positive comments. It really helps spread the visibility of the show, helps us build our audience, which I appreciate all of you have been helping us do over these last 93 episodes. A few things I want to mention before we get into our conversation that we're going to have today, which I'm looking forward to. I want to tell you, as always, about our sponsor, Porcupine Coffee Roasting. You know, I was actually really worried that I wasn't going to have any porcupine coffee. You know, I always try to have some porcupine coffee in my mug when I do this ad, but I've been drinking so much of it lately, I'm like running out and my next shipment is coming in. So I was really worried, but no, I've got my last cup of porcupine coffee. I saved it just to be here with you this week. And Porcupine Coffee Roasting is, of course, this is a private membership association operated by Free Staters right here in the Free State. They bring in specialty grade beans from all around the world. They roast them right here in New Hampshire, and they ship them right out to you. And wherever you are, even if you are in like one of the most tyrannical states in the country, like the Empire State of New York or heaven forbid, California, they can ship porcupine coffee right to you. Even in these states of tyranny, you can start your day with a sip of some caffeinated freedom. So go to porcupinecoffeeroasting.com, and here's the deal. Use our discount code PORKREPORT for 15% off of your individual orders. And I do keep hearing from them that members of the audience of this show are using that discount code and getting porcupine coffee shipped right to them, which is great. That's a win-win-win for everyone all around. It's a win for a great private membership association here in the Free State. It's a win for you, getting some delicious premium specialty coffee. And it's also a win for the Porcupine Report because a small portion of that sale does go to support this show. So support the show, stay caffeinated, and get yourself some coffee. Don't fork your money over to those big corporations like Starbucks or Folgers or what have you. Porcupine Coffee Roasting. I'm happy with it, and I'm sure you will be too. All right. That's Porcupine Coffee. All right. Some events I want to mention, of course. Tickets are on sale for the New Hampshire Liberty Forum. That's going to be March 5th through the 8th. You can find out more at nhlibertyforum.com. We've announced several speakers already, and we've got some more that we're lining up. We'll be making more announcements as we move forward. So get your tickets for the New Hampshire Liberty Forum and a specialty discount code, a gift from me to you. Use discount code PORKREPORT and save 5% on your tickets when you check out with your New Hampshire Liberty Forum tickets. So there's that. And people are always asking me about the Porcupine Freedom Festival. I am so close to having some really exciting news. I'm so close, but I don't want to speak too soon. I'm actually going to be this week touring a potential venue for Pork Fest next summer, and cross our fingers, it's going to be great. But I got to see it first before we kind of sign a contract and all of that. So hopefully I will have some news very shortly. And I hope I'm not getting my hopes up. I hope I'm not getting your hopes up. You never know until it's in place. But people have been asking, and I want to let you know things are moving forward. We are looking for a venue, and we've got our eyes set on something I'm pretty excited about. So we'll see. Cross our fingers, and hopefully there'll be some news soon. I want to also encourage you, if you haven't been to the new fsp.org, please go and check it out. And while you're there, sign up for the weekly Free State Project newsletter. I write it every single week with support from volunteers and staff. And it's like the water cooler talk around the Free State Project. I'm hearing from people all the time. It's the only email newsletter that they actually read because it's great content. It's fun stories about wins for liberty that are taking place in New Hampshire, spotlight profiles on Free Staters doing awesome things, and sometimes spotlights on the progressive whiners who keep whining how much liberty is winning here in New Hampshire. Those ones are my favorite. And you can get that right to your email inbox every single week if you sign up at fsp.org for the Porcupine Post newsletter. And while you're there, of course, I want to say a special thank you to our patrons, our Porcupine patrons. I have a goal. I have a dream of reaching 270 patrons by the end of the year. And I'm happy to tell you that we are currently, by my last count, at 267. We are 3 patrons away from hitting the goal. Of course, if we hit the goal early, I might raise the goal a bit. Want to keep having something to reach for. But we are working to fund our year-round mission at the Free State Project. And of course, your donation is 100% tax deductible. So whether you're coming in as a patron at our basic granite level of $100 a year or $10 a month, or at a much higher level like our Bitcoin tier of $10,000 a year or more, some very generous donors have been great in supporting our mission in that way. You can do that at fsp.org/give. You will get in the mail a handwritten thank you card from me, a Porcupine patron lapel pin. You'll get our quarterly print patron newsletter. You will get access to our patron exclusive signal group. We're building some patron exclusive sections of the new Free State forums on the new website. And there are so many other benefits as you climb the tiers as well. You can find out all about that at fsp.org/give. I still have to update the stuff for next year. We've got great benefits we're looking forward to offering people next year. But sign up at fsp.org/give. Become a patron. Help us reach 270. We're just 3 away. You could be the one. You could be the one. So thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the year-round mission of the Free State Project. We couldn't do it without you. And also a thank you to all of our volunteers, which you can also sign up to be at fsp.org. Last week I talked a little bit about the volunteer appreciation party that we held, but we didn't have a chance to share any pictures with you. So Renita, our producer, has some photos from this party. Let's throw some of them up. I did talk with everyone about that's me talking anyway. That's the least exciting part of it. But I did talk with folks. Our outreach volunteers were all recognized by our outreach director, Pedro Sara. Everyone got a little trophy and some gift cards to say thank you for all their outreach work, going to outreach events across New England and connecting with hundreds and hundreds of new people, signing them up for the newsletter. Pedro spoke a bit about all of that. And what are the photos? Oh, yes. Sarah Brown received for her husband, Tyler Brown, who's been doing AV volunteer work for us a long time, one of our superlative awards as our AV master. We tried to make sure to recognize a lot of our volunteers this year. That's actually our producer, Renita, who is getting the Spielberg Award for all of her video production work. Thank you, Renita. And I want to say a big thank you to our volunteer of the year, Jason Spencer, who we recognized for doing stage management work at PorcFest and Liberty Forum. He shows up to every single volunteer party where we're making calls and sending postcards to potential movers. And he really just embodies the good neighbor spirit of the Free State movement. So thank you, Jason. And thank you to all of our volunteers who came out. And next year, at the next year's December volunteer party, there's no reason why we couldn't be saying thank you to you, dear member of our audience, because you can sign up to be a volunteer at fsp.org. All right. Thank you to our volunteers. Thank you to our patrons. And let's get into the rest of the show. All right. I'm excited to have on our guests for today. The Free State is fertile ground for new beginnings. And while thousands move here to live free, many don't come alone. They bring their ideas, their ambitions, and their ventures with them. Businesses, nonprofits, clubhouses, organizations are all across the state, all staking a claim in building a freer life. Now, one of these great spots is the Independence Inn in Strafford, New Hampshire, which was purchased several years ago by several Free State Project participants. This historic inn features 6 cozy, renovated colonial-era rooms, in addition to a downstairs restaurant and opening gathering spaces. Now, its mission, as the owner and frequent guest on this show, Dennis Pratt, often describes, is to welcome libertarians and liberty lovers to New Hampshire year-round, particularly those who are exploring the Free State for the first time. And over its first few years, many new Free Staters have spoken very fondly of their stays, appreciating its rural charm and its relative proximity to multiple hubs for geographically separated Free State communities that host gatherings and events. As Dennis often describes it, the Independence Inn is in the middle of nowhere, but the center of everywhere. And now Dennis openly talks about he suffered a stroke earlier this year. And for a while, many of the general operations of the Independence Inn had to necessarily slow down. He and his wife, Carol, were carrying a lot of that on their shoulders, and they had to focus on his recovery. Well, first of all, I'm happy to say that Dennis is doing much better these days. And I know because oftentimes I'm on the phone with him for sometimes hours at a time. But many did wonder at the time what would be the fate of the Independence Inn, which helps bring libertarian visitors to New Hampshire on a regular basis. And I know so many people who've made the move who their first stop was at the Independence Inn, getting the chance to meet other Free Staters and have a Porcupine vacation where they really get out and experience the Free State community, not just at a big event like Liberty Forum or Pork Fest, but stuff that's going on all the time year round. So earlier this year, the Independence Inn announced the arrival of 2 new movers, Tyler and Sara, a husband and wife duo who would be taking over as innkeepers and reopening the downstairs restaurant, which they are calling the Jefferson. And I've been there. It's very tasty. They're a lot great. They do a great job. And we figured, well, they've been here for going on half a year now. They've had a little bit of time to get going, get acquainted with the community, really build up the Independence Inn and the Jefferson. And I'm really excited to have them join us on the show to talk a little bit about their experience, what they've been building, and how they're loving New Hampshire since they made the move from, I will tell you, they made the move from New York State. So that's quite an upgrade. New York State, the Empire State, of course, is ranked number 50 for freedom and freedom in the 50 states. They jumped from 50 to 41. So from the Empire State to the Free State, we're glad to have them here. So let's welcome to the show. Let's welcome them on. Tyler and Sara.
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. I guess let's get started. I guess we could start at the beginning. You guys moved from New York State. By way, you originally from California, as you mentioned to me. So you've lived in two of the least free states in the country, and you hopped over to New Hampshire. What was your decision-making process like? What was your journey like from there to here?
Sure. Well, it started a long time ago. I went to school in New Hampshire a long time ago, 20 years ago. I went to Plymouth, and then I moved to California, and I worked out there. I did restaurants for a long time, and I met Sara while we were doing that. Most of my family is still in Massachusetts and Connecticut, so we would come out, and I drove her up to Plymouth one time, and we were just sitting in the middle of the Pemigewasset River just north of the campus, and there's a rainbow and it's summer and it's beautiful upstate New Hampshire. And we looked at each other and we knew that we had to get back to New Hampshire. Yeah. We just had to.
Yeah. So, we're driving around the state. I've never been to New Hampshire before. I'm seeing live free or die everywhere. And I looked at Tyler and I said, is this really what life is like in New Hampshire? And he's like, yes. And so we moved back. We traveled back to California. This was about 10 years ago. I told my family, we're moving to New Hampshire. I have no idea how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And therefore we started making moves slowly across the country, to finally get here. And last year, while living in upstate New York, we decided 2025, that's the year we're moving to New Hampshire. We're done. We're ready. We've got the money saved. Let's make this move. So we planned a New Hampshire vacation. Now, this was all without the information from the Free State organization. And so Tyler planned a little winter getaway for us at the Independence Inn, which, you know, the name rings so many bells for me because I'm a Gilmore Girls fan. So I was kind of beside myself that we were going to go stay at the Independence Inn, which is from the Gilmore Girls show. However, the name Independence Inn was also this like beautiful signal to us. It's like, you know, is it possible that Independence Inn is owned by people who love freedom? We had no idea that it was Free State owned. Yeah. So we came and did our New Hampshire vacation in the Independence Inn, and we happened upon this vacant restaurant in this charming little inn. And we saw that it was turnkey. And all of a sudden, the sparks are flying, our ideas are flowing. And we said, why can't we open a restaurant here? So we contacted the owners of the inn and
worked out a deal.
Yeah, started making the moves. So
yeah.
And it's all kind of very magical and serendipitous. But here we are.
Yeah. Like I had heard about the Free State Project through James Corbett years and years and years ago, I think during his Solutions podcast. And I was just like, well, okay, so there's something going on in New Hampshire. That's cool. That's cool. Well, I've been there before, so I know everybody's awesome. At least that was my opinion when I left. I really liked it. I just was a bit tired of the snow. So now I had a long break from the snow. We're happy to be back. The Independence Inn and opening the Jefferson in the Independence Inn is basically just a dream come true for us.
Absolutely.
And without meeting Dennis and Carol, would have never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is serendipitous. Certainly seems to be the word. It seems like fate brought you here. That you would stay at the Independence and not even know that it was kind of a Free State, you know, project hub, and here you are now, really kind of making this place prosper as a place. Not just, you know, I'm sure a lot of people in the community love the restaurant there, and a lot of, but I know so many people who are coming through and have a amazing experience. And I should mention, I know Dennis always mentions that if someone wants to stay there and they're from out of state and they're coming for the Free State Project, that they should mention that the FSP, they should mention the FSP for a 50% discount.
So
different levels of discount.
Yeah, it depends on how long you want to stay. So if you're looking, if you're just staying a couple nights, smaller discount. If you're staying for a week, then you're at 50. And then if you're staying longer than that, we take 66% off of your stay. So there's really no excuse to not stay at the inn while you're checking out New Hampshire, because everywhere else is going to be much more expensive.
Yeah. It's a great deal, and it's a great little spot. And you'll certainly have. Tell us about the Jefferson restaurant. I know that I got to sit down there once, and I'm trying to remember. I had very, very delicious, like eggs Benedict. I'm trying to remember what was there was something special about it.
Pork. Yeah,
it was pulled pork eggs Benedict.
Yeah, that's not on the menu anymore. However, but yeah. So I'll continue the serendipity of our whole journey, but we actually picked the name the Jefferson for our future restaurant about 10 years ago. And we just liked, we've always kind of appreciated Thomas Jefferson's values. And there was this restaurant in Los Angeles that had this quick service style that we do in our restaurant. And it was called the Lincoln. We this kind of, these presidential names kind of really reflect a classic American cuisine. So we picked the name Jefferson. And then when we found Independence Inn, we figured, wow, this relationship of the Jefferson and Independence Inn seems to be a perfect fit. And also our grand opening day was on July 4th. So there's all that too. Okay. So we have always been imagining a style of restaurant that would kind of be flexible with the current times. And the hospitality industry is struggling very much so, finding good employees. So we figured we would have a model that would allow Tyler and I to do the restaurant all by ourselves. And we wanted to make it a small menu because we do believe that small menus are great ways to make sure that the food is fresh and local as much as possible, made from scratch, because we really truly believe that if you eat well, you will live free. Okay. And so we wanted to design a menu that allows people to do that. So we don't cook in any seed oils. We use clarified butter that Tyler clarifies the butter every day himself. We use organic grass-fed beef tallow, and that's a blend. And then we cook everything in that.
That's why the eggs taste so good.
Yes. And then Tyler makes everything from scratch, including the mayo. We use organic ketchup. We don't have any high fructose corn syrup in the building. And we use organic flour to do all of our fresh baked products, which he bakes these amazing cracked pepper biscuits every single morning. And I have a little bakery display case of fresh baked pastries. So small menu, beautiful food. We really think that the menu that we offer allows people to live free of belly aches and health problems. So, that's all part of it.
Yeah. And another big part is Sarah's been pouring herself into the actual restaurant environment. So right now, like the inn is completely decorated for Christmas. Sarah's outdone herself. She elicited help from other friends and it's fantastic. So not only is the food healthy and tastes good and quick, you can come enjoy the environment, stay. You don't have to rush out the door. It's
Absolutely
beautiful in there. And the inn itself is a gorgeous relic of a time when things were a bit simpler. Everybody was a bit shorter, but it's a beautiful colonial inn that you just get to hang out in and enjoy. And I think that makes it very special.
Absolutely.
And yet, for all the tradition, if I remember right, you still walk in there and there's a Bitcoin ATM.
No longer. That company went out of business.
Yeah, it was Maine BTC. Because Maine changed their laws, and
that's right. I know that. That
forced them out of business.
I knew the guy who ran that, and Maine has become increasingly hostile to anyone trying to do anything in the cryptocurrency industry. So that's why New Hampshire is the granite cradle of crypto. And to my friend who ran Maine Bitcoin, Maine Bitcoin ATMs, maybe we should change it to the New Hampshire Bitcoin ATMs and come join us over here. So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll have to. I'm sure we'll. Anyway, there's lots of ways to get Bitcoin these days. So how has it been? Kind of, you've moved into a new community. You've been around for about 6 months. I know that I really enjoy. I was telling you guys off air that one of the things that seems to really frustrate some of the really like wicked partisan status like in the state is that like how often free staters like turn out to be really good neighbors, and people actually like us because we're the kinds of people who try to contribute and don't just like expect the government to do everything for us. What has your experience been like coming into a new community and meeting lots of new neighbors and building a restaurant and business, inside the community that you're in now?
Yeah, let me start. So we came into this with a mentality that we are here to serve people. Yes, we're in the service industry, but in a more elevated level. The inn needed a bit of a revitalization, needed more life in it. The restaurant needed to be reopened. The community, since we've gotten here, has been extremely positive. They love that the restaurant's open. They love that the inn is busy. When they drive past, they see the parking lot full or cars just, it's a little crazy sometimes on Sundays. But there's life. And it's because Sarah and I have dedicated ourselves to the community to bring this to them. Yes. Is it a business? Yes, of course we're making some money, but we're also doing it by ourselves. We're you know,
Yeah.
if you come and eat, I make your food. If you come and
Yeah.
eat, she rings you up. Like, you're going to see us. We are here. We're the front of our business.
Yeah.
And I think that part of it is very special. And Sarah has the distinct advantage of meeting everybody in the community. So I'll let her tell some stories.
I mean, you know, I think this building is so important to the community. They have, you know, generations of family members that have worked in this inn. I remember the very first day that we opened the restaurant, I had somebody in the community say, my great aunt was a chambermaid in this inn in 1930s. And, you know, that to me is so special. I just love history and, you know, treasuring and preserving, you know, older buildings and bringing the past with us into the future. And we would have, you know, so many people say, I got married in this inn. I had my baby shower in this inn. It's so amazing to see it with full of life and operating again, especially with people that care about it. And so, you know, I have so much respect for this inn and the relationship it has with the town, vice versa. And I think that's been really gold to them. And now Tyler and I have also kind of had this beautiful philosophy about what it is to be free. Well, if we are going to be free, that requires a lot of personal freedom or personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
Now, when you have personal responsibility, you have to realize that no man is an island, that you need your community. And so I've been really trying to find a community of people that kind of do this beautiful give and take relationship, right? Like I've been calling it regenerative community. I give, I receive, and I just need to keep that cycle going. Guess what? This community of Strafford, they already operate in this way so beautifully, whether they are a libertarian, a liberal, or conservative. I think that this community is it operates beautifully for no matter what your political beliefs are. We just need to take care of each other. And it's amazing. So they've accepted us with open arms. I love every single person, like seriously, that comes in through these doors. The relationship means the world to us. And we can't do it without them. And, you know, I used to always wonder, what is my place going to be in a community? Because I used to think that just being a server in a restaurant was no good. But now I'm realizing how important a restaurant or a gathering place for the community to be. That's integral, especially when you're in a town of farmers, right? And so we have farmers growing the food, they give it to us, we produce the food, we feed it to the community. It's gorgeous relationship. It's a dream come true for us. So,
well, I really appreciate how you hit on in all of that, right? The real kind of philosophy of liberty that I think is so important, right? And just to reiterate what you're saying there, right? It is right. I think that these words freedom and liberty are often used interchangeably, but I kind of think of it very much in kind of how you talk about it. It's this balance between freedom and responsibility. And we all need to kind of, you know, if we want the freedom to live as we choose, then we also have to take responsibility for, you know, for what we do with that freedom. And part of that responsibility is, you know, being a good neighbor, being a good, you know, good to the people around us. And there's nothing wrong with seeking profit, but we should also recognize that not all profits can be measured in dollars. And sometimes the profits are measured in less tangible things like friendship and community. And there's a lot of ways to enrich your own life by enriching, you know, the people around you. So
absolutely,
it's really awesome that you both bring that spirit to the inn. And certainly, I had some appreciation of the history of the inn there, but I had no idea just how much, you know, how deeply rooted the history there is in the community.
Yeah, it's really special.
Yeah, we hear stories all the time about, you know, oh, I got married here, you know, 20 years ago, or I got married here 5 years ago, you know, or I had a woman who I checked on her breakfast. She loved it, but she was like, oh yeah, I've been coming here since 1930. 1930.
It's
like
amazing.
She's almost 100 and she's still coming into
so
to the restaurant. So So I think,
how does she review your food compared to every other iteration over the last 100 years?
I think I was right in the middle there,
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
People have particular tastes out here, and that's fine.
That's totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the stories we hear just make it more and more real for us, and it gives us the drive to make it more and more real for them too. It's like, no, we're here.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere. We're
never
doing
leaving.
This. Yeah.
I mean, I hope
the goal for us is to, stay here. We don't want to leave. I want this to be the last kitchen I ever cook in.
Mm-hmm. I never want to have a boss ever again. Okay. Cause that's a huge part of freedom for us.
Yeah.
But, and what's also amazing is, it's kind of, even though we don't serve alcohol, we're kind of a local watering hole, right? So there are people that will come every single day. And I love to have these conversations. They tell me about the history of the town, how the town has been operating for, hundreds of years. So many people that live in this town are like 4th generation Strafford. And something that's very important to this community is they want to keep the community running how it's always been. They don't want it to change. So even though they don't say it in the same way, they want to preserve the freedoms that they have had in this town. They don't want people moving in and changing it. And guess what? I'm on your page. Where, I understand the language that you're speaking, and I'm on that page with you. I 100% agree. Right. Let's keep it amazing. Let's keep it New Hampshire.
Keep New Hampshire free. I think that is such a important thing, and I certainly try to emphasize that too when I'm talking with folks who, I'm going out to a lot of Republican meetings lately, trying to demystify, right, the Free State Project, because there's a lot of, and nonpartisan organization. I go to Democrat meetings if they invited me. They're just not inviting me so much. But talking with a lot of native Granite Staters and trying to demystify kind of a lot of the myths that have been spread out there by folks on their anti-FSP, tours. I like to think it's not a revolution, it's a restoration, right? It's about restoring and reinforcing the live free or die spirit that's been here since the Pine Tree riots, and we're going into the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence and our American Revolution next year. And of course, next month in January, we get to celebrate before everyone else in the country, because New Hampshire was the first state, the most committed to independence. New Hampshire was the first state to declare independence like half a year before everyone else. Yeah. So that's what we're here to reinforce and support, and to keep New Hampshire free and keep those values alive. Unlike a lot of our neighbors who have seen those values die in Massachusetts and Maine and Vermont and all around New England, this is the last hub for freedom in the Northeast.
Yeah. And I think the overall just level that everybody is at in New Hampshire, much, even just talking to, the statists in this state, they're much more freedom oriented than anybody in New York.
Oh yeah,
California.
Or California.
Right. Yeah. It's the Overton window, right? It's like
oh my God.
Absolutely.
I can't get over the fact, here it is, New Hampshire, the 3rd least taxed state in the country. And yet I just hear people complaining all the time about taxes. And it's like, as they should, right?
Right.
It's like, all right, we've got the sales tax tackled. We've got the income tax tackled. Now let's keep complaining about the property taxes.
Right.
And let's start doing something about that too.
Yeah, agreed. And honestly, everybody, the vast majority of the people that we interact with in this state are so kind and happy, and it's genuine, right? So I'm from Los Angeles. I'm used to dealing with kind of a phony happiness in California. And every time we would come to New Hampshire, the gas station cashier, the coffee barista, whatever, everybody would be so kind. And I would ask Tyler, why is everybody so happy? And he's like, because we're free in New Hampshire,
it's
right?
New Hampshire. Welcome.
And, the first trip that we made out here, I'm like, okay, this has, everybody's nice. The second, okay, well, this is a fluke. And the third and the fourth and the fifth trip that we made out to New Hampshire, I'm like, no, this is a culture. People in New Hampshire are kind, friendly, happy, and it's because of the lifestyle in this state. It's just gorgeous, you know, and you have the access, especially where we live. We have access to the the White Mountains, and easy access to the ocean. Where when we were living in upstate New York, we didn't have access to the ocean, and that was very sad. So this California girl gets ocean and mountains. I mean, New Hampshire is just fantastic for so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, I know you said that you went away for a while because you didn't want to deal with the snow anymore. Well, here we are in the middle of December. I was very happy this year actually that the snow seemed to hold off until December. Maybe if you went further north,
Sure.
but
Probably
people got snow. But further south, we didn't really get any significant snow until December. How are you doing with your first winter back in New Hampshire? You're getting your first wave of snow. How are you dealing with all that?
You know, when you live in California, I lived in San Diego for almost 15 years, and it's 75 and sunny there almost every day. And, you know, I thought it was great. First 5 years I was there, I wore shorts and a t-shirt. Everybody thought I was crazy. But that is a static way to live.
Yeah.
I love seasons. And then our first fall here in New Hampshire, oh my God. Fall is my favorite.
Yeah.
And it was just stunning. You know, the 55 degrees, the colors, the cool breeze coming off Bow Lake. I mean, that's cream of the crop for me.
Yeah.
So winter, no problem. No problem. I'm just waiting for fall again.
And the snow, especially around a 200-year-old inn, you know,
Yeah.
during Christmas, it makes it just that much more romantic, you know? So yeah, we'll see how we feel about it at the end of January. But right
Yeah.
now it's very romantic.
Yeah, I can't imagine. We have a lot of friends in the second freest state in the country, of Florida, and I just can't imagine a Christmas with palm trees and no snow. That just doesn't feel like Christmas to me.
Exactly.
And what you're saying, Tyler, it does. You know, I often think about that. If I've always lived with the seasons, but I just kind of imagine if I was in a place where it's just like one way all year round. I just feel like time would slip by and you wouldn't even know it. So
It does get old.
Yeah, it really does. And I think, you know, not to diss San Diego or anything, it was great, but you know, I was there for a long time, and you know, you miss it. Like, you know, it's the natural cycles of nature that you get up here in New England are just, you know, they sing when you're ready to listen to the music. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Now, for folks who might be watching or listening, who certainly we have plenty of people who are already in New Hampshire who are part of our audience, but we have a lot of people all around the country, and many of them are often thinking about making a visit to New Hampshire. Of course, we invite people out for the big events that we do, the Porcupine Freedom Festival, the New Hampshire Liberty Forum. But of course, what we always want people to know on top of that is you don't have to wait for those big events, because there are events taking place almost literally every single day in New Hampshire within the Free State community, which they can find out about if they go to the fsp.org and look at our community calendar at fsp.org/calendar. So there's events going on all the time. So it's always a good week to come and do a Porcupine vacation. And at the Independence Inn, I know you have had a lot of potential future Free Staters, many who have become Free Staters, come through, stay there, and do a Porcupine vacation. What have some of those experiences been like during your time?
Sure. I'll pick on Eric. He was visiting from Arizona, and he was very ready. He had an agenda. He was communicating in the signal chats. He was very ready to go out and explore. But for even somebody who's that prepared, having, you know, a welcoming environment as soon as you get in the door. He brought his 2 children, very young, and his wife, and they stayed in one of the king rooms for a week. And they were just delighted to have just it's that air of freedom. You know what I mean? You don't have to hide. We sat down, we talked frankly and openly immediately. As soon as he got here, he's like, hey, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I want to do. This is what we're thinking about doing. I was like, okay, do you have this on your list? Great. Have you thought about this? Okay, here's the place to go on this night. So it's once you're here, we can help direct you if you're not even prepared at all, right? No problem. The calendar's there and we know what's going on. But even if you are prepared, we can still help facilitate, what exact experience you're looking to have. Because as Dennis says, we are in the middle of nowhere. Like once you get out here, you're like, where the heck am I? But
that's part of the charm. But
right,
you're not. It's not such a long drive to.
No.
The stars are beautiful too. But we're 40 minutes to Concord. We're 40 minutes to Portsmouth. We're 45 minutes to Manchester. So
30 to Dover.
30 to Dover. So we're literally right in the middle of the highest populated areas in the southern side of the state. Now if you're trying to go north, it's about an hour and a half to get to the Plymouth or North Conway or anything like that to see up north, but that's still not too bad either, especially if you're doing multiple stops along the way. So if you're thinking about coming out to visit New Hampshire and just check it out, see what's going on, and as Eric said, there's lots going on. You can do that. We can help facilitate it, and you'll have a great place to stay at a discount.
Yeah, good luck checking into the Marriott and asking them about where all the great Free State events are happening.
Hey, where's the next gun shooting expose going to be?
Yeah. They're not going to know, and they're not going to give you a discount. So, if that's your plan to go stay at the Marriott, then you're I wouldn't say you're doing it wrong. There's no wrong way. We're glad that you're coming to New Hampshire.
Much better.
But there's some ways are strongly encouraged because you're gonna have a better experience. So, any other kind of fun stories from your first 6 months here, or any more advice you want to give to folks who maybe are coming for a visit, or folks who might want to come and build a business like you two are?
Yeah. So, I did have a couple, they were staying here. It was, a younger, man and woman. And I had asked them, hey, you think you're moving to New Hampshire? And the guy was like, yeah, I'm totally ready. The gal was like, oh, I want to, but I'm not. She's young. She's like, I've never moved before. I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do. And, I just looked at her. I have moved 1 million times all across this country. And I tell everybody who's ever thinking of moving, no matter what state you're moving, no matter what city you're going to move to, just move. Because I think it's very important to build your character, to remove yourself from your echo chamber. It's going to help change your worldview. You get to experience, just something outside of what you were grown up in. And so whether or not it's New Hampshire is your state, which I do think New Hampshire is the state to be in, but I do encourage people, you should just move. Just take the plunge, uproot. It just helps you build a strong character. So if anybody's teetering and really thinking about it, I encourage you, just do it.
It's certainly, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. I can think of multiple times in my life where it's like moving to kind of something new gives you an opportunity to really figure out a lot about who you are and what kind of person you're building yourself up into, rather than just kind of the expectations of everyone who's known you ever since you were a little annoying kid.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I'm a chef, and I like to, sample what's out there, and New Hampshire has a lot to offer. We've been so busy getting the restaurant off the ground that I've only been able to take a couple of stabs at local farms, and I got to pick berries at the blueberry patch just up the road, and I did a special with it. So there's so much opportunity, and we've only been here 6 months. But there's just so much more that we haven't even scratched the surface.
There's just happen in this area. There's a lot of farms that you can go pick your own fruit. Big farms. So we would do that. We would go to the butternut farm in Farmington, and we would pick apples and raspberries, and we missed peach season there, unfortunately, but we got peaches from another farm that you can go pick peaches from. And so we would bring them back and we would figure out, what are we going to do with this, put it on the menu.
Specials.
Yeah, so there's lots of farms around that you can get your own food if you're unable to grow your own food. However, New Hampshire is very friendly to homesteading situations. So you'll drive around the roads and you see all these little farm stands right on the side of the road, honor system, right? Because you have to be able to trust the people are going to pull up to your farm stand. They're going to grab your fresh baked sourdough and they're going to leave the money for you there. My mother from Los Angeles thinks that's completely wackadoodle. But you trust your community members that they're going to honorably purchase your food from your farm stand. So that's really friendly there. I think it has been super easy. Not super easy. When you are starting a business, you do have lots of interactions with the government, which is not always fun. Okay. But from what I've heard, it is much more friendly to open a small business in New Hampshire than it is, especially in New York. In California. So we've had not a painful time doing this. So I would encourage people that if they are trying to find a state that's going to be friendly for them to own their own business and be their own boss, New Hampshire seems to be has been very good to us.
Yes.
And, I would encourage other people to look into it for themselves. Because when we were living in Los Angeles, we just knew that we were barely making it. We couldn't pay our rent. We couldn't, find jobs that were going to give us enough. And so we knew we have to do this for ourselves. New Hampshire is the state to do it for us. So
I know, especially lately, there's been a lot of attention in the media on the fact that business owners and certain businesses are leaving Massachusetts and coming to New Hampshire. And of course, Kelly Ayotte was doing a whole campaign in New York City after the election of socialist Mayor Mamdani about all those all those small business owners. If you want to come and bring your business and bring your capital with you, New Hampshire is the place to do it. So it certainly is, in a lot of respects, it does seem we benefit somewhat from the rest of the, everyone around us charging off in the wrong direction. So the worse the other states get, the more the best and brightest will come and join us here. So their loss, our gain.
Exactly. And I think that's been kind of what I've seen as more and more guests are coming through that are just checking us out. They're like, oh, it's just like this. Oh, your restaurant is going off after just 6 months. Okay, cool. And I think if you can bring a skill set that has been polished and you're ready to bring it to market, if you're able to do that, New Hampshire people, they just love
They'll
that.
eat it up.
They love it. Everybody is a producer here, it seems like.
It's amazing. I am kind of constantly in awe and shock of the high concentration of absolutely skilled artisans, crafters,
it's like everybody.
Everybody has a skill in this community. They're all bringing it forth. Everybody's appreciating each other's skills and, piggybacking on each other a little bit, hey, can you teach me this skill? I'm going to teach you this skill. I mean, so you gotta have something that you're really good at.
Yeah. I will say, I do feel a little sorry that, for a state with no sales tax, that you guys arrived and got into the one business where there's sales taxes, meals and lodging. Yeah. Of course, that's always attractive to the politicians, is make the out-of-staters pay the taxes. They don't vote until they move here, and then they do vote. And anyway, anyway, it's really appreciate all that you all are doing, and I think that the Independence Inn is. Obviously, it sounds like it's a very important institution for the town of Strafford, but it's also a very important institution for the Free State movement. Mm-hmm. I think this was something that was severely lacking for a long period of time. Is like a real, there was always such an emphasis on getting people to move, and that's, of course, we want people to move, but But there are steps between someone making the decision to make the move, because that is a very big step. Some people are just ready to go. They're just like, they're ready to move, and great, we want to have them. But for a lot of people, just having the opportunity to come and visit and experience the communities, that often is kind of what makes the sale, that this is where you have to be. So to anyone who's watching or listening, if you've been on the fence about making a visit and coming to see what the Free State movement is all about, because I really promise you, I can describe it as best as I can. I can tell you about the political victories that are being won. I can tell you about different things that people are building, but there's only so much that I can describe. To understand the community that's here and the community that's being built, you got to come and experience it for yourself. And so the Independence Inn is a really great hub for visitors, and I encourage people to check out the Independence Inn. It is nhindependenceinn.com. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. And so people should be sure to visit nhindependenceinn.com. And remember, tell them the Free State Project sent you, and you will get somewhere around 50% off, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how long your stay is. So, and you know,
well, yeah,
you can come for like a week. But yeah. Final thoughts you guys want to share?
Yeah, I just want to say that again. Come for a week. Really, that's the best thing you can do. Like a couple of nights, yeah, you'll get a feel. But come for a week, and you'll realize, like, oh, I went to 8 events in 7 days, and I got to see most of the state.
Mm-hmm.
And next week they just do it all again. So even though I'm not here, this is going on. So I think that's kind of like the magic that, you know, at least when I first got here and I was able to get out of the restaurant for a minute, I went to as many events as we could. My crypto meetup was awesome. I love that. I wish I could go again. You know, all these things that just happen here in the state because of the Free State Project and the people organizing it. I think you're missing it if you don't just come and check it out for a week. And if you don't buy it, then okay, sure. Maybe this isn't for you, but I'm very sure that you will enjoy your stay. You'll enjoy the environment around you and the massive community nearly everywhere you go in the state.
It truly is something unique.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you both for all that. Sara, any last words you want to share with folks?
No, I mean, I just think you have to come. You have to feel the magic. It's in the air, and in the beautiful well water as well. So you just got to come and experience it. And I think you'll have an amazing magical experience in the inn and in the restaurant. It's something to see.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you both. And thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Eric.
All right, everyone. That's the Porcupine Report. That's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. A few reminders. Tickets are on sale for the New Hampshire Liberty Forum. NHLibertyForum.com. Use our discount code PorkReport. Get 5% off tickets. Hope to have some news on PorkFest soon. Hopefully, cross our fingers. Thank you again to our patrons. We are 267. I want to get to 270 by the end of the year. We're so close. You can sign up at fsp.org/give. And of course, like, what does your patronage go to support? We do 5 things at the Free State Project. We promote, we outreach, we invite, we welcome, and we engage. We try to meet people wherever they are on their journey from out in the Liberty diaspora to here and building stuff here in New Hampshire. And one of the most essential steps right there is what we talked about today, the invite step, inviting people to come out and visit, just like we'd love you to come out and visit if you aren't already here. So you find all the resources for every step of your journey at fsp.org. Sign up to become a patron, sign up for the newsletter. And if you're thinking about that visit, be sure to check out the Independence Inn. All right. I guess that's it, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope you are having a wonderful Merry Christmas season. And furthermore, my opinion is the Federal Reserve should be destroyed.